Hello and welcome back to another episode of Star Wars The Living Set. Will, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
All right, we are back with 4 new cards this week, so I'm going to turn it over right away to Will. And there's some hot cards this week, right?
We have some really good cards this week. I'm very happy with the selection.
Okay, I'll turn over to you. Card number 47, Rey. Tell me about Rey.
47 is obviously Rey. This one is one of the first times we see her, not the exact moment in the card, but it's in the movie. So this was obviously from The Force Awakens. First, we're going to stats. So they made 1,503, 76 PS or 76 graded, 51 PSA 10s and 25 PSA 9s. The actress is Daisy Ridley, who then became very famous.
Yeah, really. So apparently before then, she kind of did some minor TV stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously when you become a lead role in Star Wars, you're going to be pretty big.
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
So that's the actress. She was first introduced on Jakku.
Yep.
One of the first scenes after the whole other scene on Jakku in the wherever place that Poe is. That whole scene. She's the next person that we see.
So how do you feel about that first scene, right? So she's like, she's in there somewhere. We don't know where she's at. And it turns out she's inside this gigantic Star Destroyer.
Broken down Star Destroyer. Like in like the engines and
stuff. Hanging upside down. She sleds down on a little thing, like a shield. Mm-hmm. And then she hops on this speeder and goes into town. How did you feel about that character all of a sudden?
It was really interesting because like it starts off with like she's like opening a panel and then like the camera's like inside the little box.
Yeah.
But she was like wearing like all her masks and stuff obviously to protect from the sand. So we're like, what? Is this a person? Is it a Rodian? Is it a Gungan?
Ooh, good call. Yeah.
Who is this? What is this? What is going on?
Yeah.
And then like we saw her like grab a part and we're like, oh, she or whoever this is seems like a scavenger. And then she does like a cool rope slide thing, which is pretty cool. And then she goes like, and then she hits the ground. And then we see her walking out of like the main big engine.
Yeah.
Or, like we see her like slowly walking out, and then we're like, what is that? And then we see a big view, and we all just went, that's a Star Destroyer. So she was really just in the engine, like not like the engine room, but in the engine of a Star Destroyer. And that part was super cool for me. Yep. Then she like takes her mask she takes her mask off, drinks some water, then sleds down. I was very much like, this is a really interesting character, but who is she? But yeah, it was a great first interaction. I loved how they portrayed her at the very beginning, like how they had her be a scavenger at first, but then continue to be like just a nameless person on a sand dune to then become not gonna say that yet, but to become something much more than a nameless person. Yeah, I mean, obviously she's the star of the next 3 movies, right? Yeah, basically. I was drawn in right away. I thought her character was great. Mm-hmm. I was really excited about her personality. I thought she was funny. I thought as we got to know her throughout that entire first movie, just a great character. Like I totally loved it. What else did you learn about her during the research that you found out? So this is actually interesting, and we were just talking about this.
Okay.
In early stories, she was actually known, or they were originally going to call her Kira.
Very interesting.
Which is also, 1, interesting, but also 2, still interesting, because obviously...
Interesting and still interesting.
It's interesting and interesting.
Well, double interesting.
It's an interesting name because, like, obviously, what if she had been Kira? But also... what if she had been like Kira, like from Solo? I don't know if there was some connection.
No, there wasn't there. I just think that's what they went to at first, but that's okay though.
I think they probably must have changed it because Kira.
I don't know.
Maybe they were planning.
Who knows?
But yeah, so she was originally supposed to be called Kira.
Okay.
She auditioned over 7 months.
Yep.
She was limited in the merch and not even in the Monopoly game at the very
end. So apparently they said they didn't want to kind of disclose her full character, so that's why they left her out of the Monopoly game.
Which kind of makes sense, because she was very, like, secretive, knew nothing about her.
I think it's kind of a poor excuse, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever, that's fine.
So this is actually, I'm super excited about this.
Okay.
When I heard about this, I almost had a heart attack. I was freaking out.
I would rather you not have a heart attack.
Yeah, but, like... obviously, I didn't almost have a heart attack, but like I was freaking out a lot.
Okay.
So, obviously, I'm talking about the 3 new upcoming Star Wars movies. Some of you may have heard one of those is going to be focused on Rey. It's roughly about 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker, and this was obviously announced at the Star Wars 2023 celebration where they announced a bunch of stuff.
Yep. Pretty cool.
I'm super excited for all of those. I cannot wait because it will be like not my first time seeing Star Wars movies in theaters, but like
when you're older though.
Yeah, like when I'm older and have more of an understanding of it and have seen a lot of Star Wars things and now understand more. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for them. They should.
You gotta wait.
Now. I know I need to wait, but I waited for Ahsoka for 2 years. I think I can wait about 3-ish years.
Okay.
All
right.
That's what the release dates are.
Anything else on Rey?
She was the protagonist in the Lego Christmas special that we got in 2020.
Yep.
She's also in Robot Chicken.
Yeah, it's a TV show. I never watched it, but it was on there, so I had to put it on there. So it is what it is.
You know Robot Chicken. She's in that.
So I'm sure we'll spend more time on Rey in the future because obviously there's a lot going on with Rey.
We're gonna get 2 other versions of her.
Yeah, a great character. Yeah. Again, we'll spend more time in the future, but I love the way they introduced her. It's actually my favorite card of the week for the art.
Art wise,
love it.
It's either that one or the third one, which I'm not good.
We'll get there in a minute.
The name of. Yeah.
All right.
We'll get there.
Card number 48. So that's good on Rey. Card number 47. Card number 48. Savage, as we call him, or Savage Opress. So tell me about Savage.
So Savage Opress, it's spelled savage, but it's.
That's fine.
Yeah. So basically, we don't really know like a lot about him.
Okay.
So he is in the Clone Wars show, not the movie, the show. We meet him about roughly halfway through, and also there will be spoilers coming, so if you want to skip this, stop now. Anyway, so basically, Dooku then betrays Ventress, his then old apprentice.
Okay.
And then, quote-unquote, kills her. She's not actually dead. He believes she's dead. Then she goes to the Night Sisters of Dathomir, which we will meet later and have more interaction with later.
Yep.
And then she is trying to find a new apprentice. She goes to the other side of Dathomir, where there are the Brothers of Dathomir.
Okay.
And that is like the race that Darth Maul is from.
Yep.
So basically, kind of a little idea of what Savage looks like. He's like a yellow version of Darth Maul.
Okay.
Before we get too into this, I almost forgot. We need to do the stats. So they made 1,114, 55 55 graded, 40 PSA 10s, and 15 PSA 9s.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna go into like more stuff, and then we're gonna go into more backstory things.
Okay.
So the voice is Clancy Brown.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Clancy also played.
Do you want me to hit on this other ones?
Yeah.
So Clancy Brown, which I didn't realize this until I did the research. So Clancy Brown he's been in a lot of he's been in 326 different TV shows, movies, or video games or voices, which is pretty awesome. That's a nice run by Clancy.
That's like 3 times the last guy, whoever it was that did like 120. I thought that was a lot.
That's a lot. So here's some things that maybe you didn't know about Savage. He was the voice of Kurgan in Highlander, which if you haven't seen Highlander, a wonderful movie from the 80s. Great movie. He also played prison guard Hadley in Shawshank Redemption, which you have not seen. No. However, an amazing movie if you've seen it. Again, prison guard Hadley. And then finally, also one of the drill instructors in Starship Troopers. Again, a movie you haven't seen, but another great star. But my favorite out of that list is Kurgan from Highlander. Now that I hear that, I can hear the voice.
You can hear the voice,
which is amazing. So give us like another minute or so about the backstory on Savage.
We're gonna speed up a little. So then she finds Savage. She does like a little test with all the Brothers of Dathomir. She chooses him. They take him back to the Night Sisters. They do like some magic stuff. He gets all buff. Then she sends him to go be Dooku's new apprentice, even though he's then going to betray him. So then she does that. He's like learning stuff. He gets this super cool double-bladed lightsaber, very unique. Then Ventress comes, and then she does like a little like boom thing, and then she goes, "Remember who your masters are," or whatever. And then they both then team on Dooku. Then Dooku Then he like destroys both of them.
Okay.
Savage kind of goes wild, does that. Then he goes back to Mother Talzin, gets the order to find his brother, Darth Maul. I don't know if it's like blood brother or just like brother.
Whatever.
Anyway, then we skip him for a while. Then we come back to him. He finds Darth Maul, and then he and Darth Maul are kind of like messing around. They get in with Kenobi.
Yep.
Because Maul obviously wants revenge. Does all that. Kenobi gets away. We leave them for a while. We come back. I'm pretty sure Savage actually dies.
Okay.
Sadly, I don't remember. But then, yeah. So, cool character. Didn't see him for the whole show. Kind of a little funny thing. Before we really had watched Clone Wars.
Yep.
We just called him Joe Maul because
we did.
Maul, yeah.
That's okay.
But yeah, super cool character. The artwork on this is probably the most correct to the show, which makes sense because it's obviously animated, so it's a lot easier.
Yep.
But yeah, that's Savage Opress.
Savage or Savage, whichever.
Yeah.
And again, Kurgan from the Highlander. That's my favorite one for that.
Yeah.
All right. I got the last two cards. So card number 49 this week, Captain Phasma from The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, The Last Jedi, because we actually see Captain Phasma for the first time in Force Awakens. So first we're going to do the stats. They made 1,011, 71 graded by PSA, 41 PSA 10, and 30 PSA 9. So the interesting thing here, obviously, the actress is Gwendolyn Christie. Now, those of you who obviously know her also from Game of Thrones as Brienne of Tarth. She's actually 6'3". She's very tall. And she, of course, it's interesting because she pushed really hard to be in the Star Wars movies.
I mean, obviously I would. If I
Yeah.
had the chance to, I would go to the ends of the world to be a stormtrooper who doesn't even say anything.
And apparently she did, which is pretty cool. So she pushed hard to be in Game of Thrones. She also pushed hard to be in Star Wars. So the Captain Phasma character is actually pretty interesting. At first, the character was rejected by J.J. Abrams because he said, I don't need to have a leader of the stormtroopers. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But then they actually designed the armor. The armor was actually originally designed for what they thought Kylo Ren's character was going to be. Like in this metal stormtrooper stuff, and they said, no, we're not doing that. We're going to put Kylo in this other stuff. So here comes Captain Phasma in that armor, which is pretty interesting. And actually the character was named after the 1979 horror movie called Phantasm. I've not seen that. I'm not a horror movie guy.
I mean, it makes sense, Phantasm.
It does. Yep. So again, pretty interesting about Captain Phasma. Kind of a really good run for the actress. Again, Gwendolyn, Brienne of Tarth, and then also Captain Phasma.
Yep.
Of course, in Force Awakens, in Last Jedi, doesn't make it.
Nope.
However, a really good character for the time that we have Captain Phasma with us.
This is probably, it's either this one or Rey are my favorite for artwork wise.
Okay.
Rey looks super cool, but also on the Phasma card, they just did such a good, Chris Packs did such a good job.
Yep.
With the lighting, the reflection of her perfectly shiny, clean armor, as we know her, because she's very specific about that.
She is.
But yeah, that one, I'm gonna go with Phasma for my favorite artwork.
Okay.
Of this week. It's just, she's such a great character. Artwork is awesome.
All right. Last card of the week, card number 50. And by the way, congratulations on getting to 50 cards.
We're at 50 cards.
Nice
Woohoo!
job. Very exciting. This one is Cliegg Lars. So at first, we didn't know who Cliegg Lars was, right?
No.
So the original Lars last name, of course, was Owen Lars.
Yep.
That we had
Lars
from A New Hope. We've heard in other things. But here comes Cliegg Lars in Attack of the Clones.
Yep.
So if you recall, Anakin Skywalker came back to find his mom, Shmi, because he knew that she was still alive, and he shows up at the Lars homestead, and here's a guy kind of in this little cart thing.
Kind of like a hover chair almost.
Yeah, and that's Cliegg Lars.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do the stats real quick. So this is the first time that they've actually made less than 1,000 of them. So 938 Cliegg Lars, 36 PSA that have been graded, 17 10s and 19 9s. So the actor was actually Jack Thompson, who is an Australian. He's been in 114 different movies, TV shows, etc.
So many people in the past 8 have been in so many other things.
That's what they do for a job. They get to act, right?
Well, obviously, but most people have one big breakthrough, maybe a few, but
Got to pay their bills.
326 and 114, and the last one had 120. Geez, that's a lot.
Got to pay your bills.
Yeah.
Not everyone gets these big fat residual checks.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the other cool thing I learned about when they filmed, he actually wore a blue sock on his leg so that ILM later could go in and delete out his leg.
Delete the leg because he lost.
Yep, because he lost his leg, of course. So interesting. So he apparently won Shmi in a gambling game against Watto.
Mm-hmm.
he somehow figured out how to take the tracker out of her.
I think he probably freed her, and then he probably got like the information.
He did.
I'm guessing.
Yep, but then he and Shmi apparently had worked together free slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Shmi was then somehow captured by Tusken Raiders.
I think the story was like she was out going to check on the vaporators or something, and then they jumped her and
Yep.
Yeah,
so
like
so Cliegg went to go find her. Ended up getting in a battle with the Tusken Raiders.
A bunch of people did.
Lost his leg. So if you take a look at kind of the history, so Cliegg married Shmi.
Mm-hmm.
So Cliegg is actually the stepfather of Anakin and the father of Owen. Is kind of how they tie together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we only see him for the one episode. We only see him for a couple scenes.
Yep.
But again, kind of some good backstory I thought they tied into it, which was pretty good.
I do really like how they had another Lars before Owen, just like to kind of bring it all together.
Yep.
To have all that happen, I think that was a really.
They didn't have to, but they did.
They absolutely didn't have to, but I mean, like I guess they kind of did.
Yep.
Owen, obviously. Then yeah.
Yep. So again, another great 4 cards. Anything else for this week?
I don't think so.
All right, my favorite card of the week is actually the Rey card. I thought Chris Penix did a great job on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, 4 really good cards this week. We got 4 more cards coming back again on the next episode.
We got some really good ones next week.
Some really good ones coming up again. 2 new cards released every single week on the Topps Star Wars Living website. Again, all the art so far done by Chris Penix. So shout out to Chris. Great job. And again, we'll be back. If you have any comments for us, let us know. If you like what we're doing, let us know. Otherwise, we will see you guys on the next episode.